Yo guys, and welcome to my review of episode 6 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, the duel between Udius and Hiramori Mitsuko, the Flatwoods monster. Overall, a really good episode. I'm not sure if it was better than last week's, but it was definitely up there. So we start the episode with Udius thinking about Zuijo and explaining to Yuki and Yuamu about who Zuijo actually was. So Udius tries to go and find where Zuijo went, but Yuki and Yuamu stop him and say that they're going to help him find him. So a couple of days pass, they don't make any progress, and here's the first interesting thing about the episode. We see Omae no Ushiro from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. However, his, I guess you could call it, catchphrase is different. So, for those who didn't watch 7s, the joke was kinda similar to Kawaii Tell from last week. His name was Omae no Ushiro, which means in Japanese, I'm standing right behind you. So the joke was every time he says his name, people would turn around and see where he was. So in Go Rush they gave him a different catchphrase, which leaves me to believe one of two things. Either this is an alternate universe, or he just aged and he says different things now. He then explains to the kids and Udius that they are almost completely out of money, and he shows them 3 myths that maybe they could solve and get paid. The first myth was some warping grandmas who were just fast delivery men. The second was a statue that moves, but it was literally a statue that someone else moved overnight. But the last one is obviously the important one, the Flatwoods monster. So they stand next to the chair and Yuki's hair moves and Yuamo again notices it. So they figure out that the chair is the alien that we're looking for. And so we start the epic duel between Udius Velgear, the alien warrior, versus Hiramori Ritsuko, the alien chair. You know, some would say that this matchup is really weird, but they clearly haven't watched 7s. The duel was good. I think it is the best duel we've had so far. The only one really you can compare it to is last week's Yuki vs Kawaii Tell, but I think this one really was just better since it is the first non-tutorial duel. We can actually finally say that this isn't a tutorial, and again, it kind of went more into Udius's, I guess you could call it PTSD. So yeah, I think it was a really solid duel. And I like the way that everything was set up, so every move Udius made he taught back to what Zuijo taught him, and that's how he figured out that Zuijo was actually there. So, to absolutely nobody's surprise, Udius wins the duel obviously, and Yuamu figures out that all of the myths that they looked for before were actually just made up by Mitsuko because she wanted to drive people away. And Udius reveals that the reason because of that was because she's hiding someone, and that someone was Zuijo. So finally we've gotten to the big part of this episode. Zuijo finally confronting Udius and explaining to him, I guess, kind of what's going on. So Zuijo asks Udius to join him because he passed his test, I guess you could call it. So basically Zuijo wants Udius to come with him so that they can continue fighting the war, but Udius explains that he doesn't want to join him because he's trying to end the war by coming to Matsuba town, or I guess to Earth. So the interesting thing is that at some point Zuijo says something 3 times, and then later on, when Mitsuko was captured, she says, "Oh, what happens twice also happens thrice," and you're going to meet Zuijo again. So there's kind of like that Luke repeat thing going on, but instead of 2 times, it's 3. So again, There's some kind of hints at 7s here, but we're still not sure what exactly all that is. So at the end, obviously like always, MIK are late, but they were able to capture Mitsuko, and we end the episode in the exact same way as we did last week's, where Udius is looking at the direction where Zuijo ran away, and obviously the ending plays. So yeah, overall, a really good episode. I think the weakest point probably was Hiramori Mitsuko. I obviously like Kawaii Tell more, but I kind of actually like Chupataro more than her as well. I guess it probably is just because we've had more time with those two characters, but I don't know, I mean, she just seems like a very generic villain, but again, obviously we're going to have to see more of her to fully judge her. Zuijo was great. I definitely think these last two episodes are a really good introduction to him. Udius, like every episode, was good. And now the summary for next week makes sense because since he was warned that he will meet Zuijo again, he probably figured out that they are going to have to rush duel at some point, so he's trying to improve. And I am guessing that Zuijo will have either a fusion or a maximum. I think that would make complete sense, where, you know, Udius seems like he's completely prepared, he's learned about all the mechanics, and then Zuijo either fusion or maximum summons. I think that's pretty obvious that that's going to happen. But yeah guys, those are my thoughts on episode 6 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. As always, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. And I've been thinking about doing 2 videos a week, so again, if there are any videos you would like to see, I also put them in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, or whenever.